Hello, my name is Gillis, CEO of Lighthouse Streaming, and you're watching Centex Sports Network.
This is why you need Centex Primetime. Jalen Gillis brings the realness. Dive into the heart of sports with the most passionate commentary around. From pro to high school, Jalen's got the insight and energy you crave. Catch all the action weekdays from 5 to 7 p.m. on the Centex Sports Network, only on YouTube. Join the conversation and elevate your sports knowledge with Centex Primetime. Don't miss it.
Need video or audio solutions? Lighthouse Streaming, a full-scale media agency, can transform any event. Check this out. We're talking live streaming that's crisp and clear, event audio that hits every note, and church video and audio solutions that'll enhance worship. Corporate events, we got those on lock too. From concerts to conferences, Lighthouse Streaming and Audio makes your vision shine. Book your appointment now at lighthousestreaming.com or call 254-252-4206 for a free consultation. Let's elevate your event and light up the stage.
What's up, everybody? My name is Jalen Gillis. You may know me from Centex Sports Network. We're starting a new platform, Recruit 254. Our mission is to highlight the amazing student athletes of 254. So if you're in the Waco, Killeen, Temple, Mart, Marlin, or any surrounding 254 areas, follow this platform and join the movement. Recruit 254. 254, let's run it up.
My name is Emily Adams. I'm the marketing director for the Texas Asphalt Pavement Association. We are here at our third annual MAPS conference at the Waco Convention Center in beautiful Waco, Texas. I think the event has exceeded all of our expectations. We had an amazing turnout and great sessions and nothing but positive feedback. So this is our first conference in a convention center, and I'm used to working with hotels where there's like one person to talk to for everything. And so at the last minute, we realized we needed audio and video services. And so I contacted Lighthouse Streaming and Audio, and they were very quick to respond. They were able to, even though it was the last minute, they were able to fit us into their schedule, and they provided us with technicians and equipment to record our sessions, and we'll be able to provide the people who are speaking at those sessions with great video of themselves. I would highly recommend them. I highly recommend Lighthouse Streaming and Audio. I had nothing but a pleasant experience, and if we come back to Waco again, which we hope to do, I know I'll be in touch with them.
My name is Debbie Kimbrell. I am the administrative assistant here at Anderson Chapel. I also work as part of the media ministry. It was great working with Lighthouse. Everyone was very professional, came in to do video recording and streaming for a conference that we hosted here on time. They did what they needed to do, was seamless and transparent. It was great. And feedback, everyone was impressed. So it went out, it was a conference level, so a state level event, and everyone was impressed with the product and the result. We got the DVDs too, which people purchased, and they were impressed with those. It was great overall.
What's up, everybody? My name is Jalen Gillis. You may know me from Centex Sports Network. We're starting a new platform, Recruit 254. Our mission is to highlight the amazing student athletes of 254. So if you're in the Waco, Killeen, Temple, Mart, Marlin, or any surrounding 254 areas, follow this platform and join the movement. Recruit 254. 254, let's run it up.
Hello, my name is Gillis, CEO of Lighthouse Streaming, and you're watching Centex Sports Network.
This is why you need Centex Primetime. Jalen Gillis brings the realness. Dive into the heart of sports with the most passionate commentary around. From pro to high school, Jalen's got the insight and energy you crave. Catch all the action weekdays from 5 to 7 p.m. on the Centex Sports Network, only on YouTube. Join the conversation and elevate your sports knowledge with Centex Primetime. Don't miss it.
Need video or audio solutions? Lighthouse Streaming, a full-scale media agency, can transform any event. Check this out. We're talking live streaming that's crisp and clear, event audio that hits every note, and church video and audio solutions that'll enhance worship. Corporate events, we got those on lock too. From concerts to conferences, Lighthouse Streaming and Audio makes your vision shine. Book your appointment now at lighthousestreaming.com or call 254-252-4206 for a free consultation. Let's elevate your event and light up the stage.
What's up, everybody? My name is Jalen Gillis. You may know me from Centex Sports Network. We're starting a new platform, Recruit 254. Our mission is to highlight the amazing student athletes of 254. So if you're in the Waco, Killeen, Temple, Mart, Marlin, or any surrounding 254 areas, follow this platform and join the movement. Recruit 254. 254, let's run it up.
My name is Emily Adams. I'm the marketing director for the Texas Asphalt Pavement Association. We are here at our third annual MAPS conference at the Waco Convention Center in beautiful Waco, Texas. I think the event has exceeded all of our expectations. We had an amazing turnout and great sessions and nothing but positive feedback. So this is our first conference in a convention center, and I'm used to working with hotels where there's like one person to talk to for everything. And so at the last minute, we realized we needed audio and video services. And so I contacted Lighthouse Streaming and Audio, and they were very quick to respond. They were able to, even though it was the last minute, they were able to fit us into their schedule, and they provided us with technicians and equipment to record our sessions, and we'll be able to provide the people who are speaking at those sessions with great video of themselves. I would highly recommend them. I highly recommend Lighthouse Streaming and Audio. I had nothing but a pleasant experience, and if we come back to Waco again, which we hope to do, I know I'll be in touch with them.
My name is Debbie Kimbrell. I am the administrative assistant here at Anderson Chapel. I also work as part of the media ministry. It was great working with Lighthouse. Everyone was very professional, came in to do video recording and streaming for a conference that we hosted here on time. They did what they needed to do, was seamless and transparent. It was great. And feedback, everyone was impressed. So it went out, it was a conference level, so a state level event, and everyone was impressed with the product and the result. We got the DVDs too, which people purchased, and they were impressed with those. It was great overall.
What's up, everybody? My name is Jalen Gillis. You may know me from Centex Sports Network. We're starting a new platform, Recruit 254. Our mission is to highlight the amazing student athletes of 254. So if you're in the Waco, Killeen, Temple, Mart, Marlin, or any surrounding 254 areas, follow this platform and join the movement. Recruit 254. 254, let's run it up.
Hello, my name is Roy Gillis, CEO of Lighthouse Streaming, and you're watching Centex Sports Network.
This is why you need Centex Primetime. Jalen Gillis brings the realness. Dive into the heart of sports with the most passionate commentary around. From pro to high school, Jalen's got the insight and energy you crave. Catch all the action weekdays from 5 to 7 p.m. on the Centex Sports Network, only on YouTube. Join the conversation and elevate your sports knowledge with Centex Primetime. Don't miss it.
Need video or audio solutions? Lighthouse Streaming, a full-scale media agency, can transform any event. Check this out. We're talking live streaming that's crisp and clear, event audio that hits every note, and church video and audio solutions that'll enhance worship. Corporate events, we got those on lock too. From concerts to conferences, Lighthouse Streaming and Audio makes your vision shine. Book your appointment now at lighthousestreaming.com or call 254-252-4206 for a free consultation. Let's elevate your event and light up the stage.
What's up, everybody? My name is Jalen Gillis. You may know me from Centex Sports Network. We're starting a new platform, Recruit 254. Our mission is to highlight the amazing student athletes of 254. So if you're in the Waco, Killeen, Temple, Mart, Marlin, or any surrounding 254 areas, follow this platform and join the movement. Recruit 254. 254, let's run it up.
My name is Emily Adams. I'm the marketing director for
Into Centex Primetime. I am your host, Jalen Gillis, getting ready to bring you through the primetime topics in sports, not just here in the Central Texas area, but from all around the nation. Want to thank everybody for tuning in with us today on Centex Primetime. We got a full show for you here today as the Pacers take a 3-1 lead over the New York Knicks. And Tyrese Halliburton is a lot to do with that as he has a complete and total dominant performance. We'll talk about that. We'll talk a little bit of NFL today. We'll talk about some quarterback situations going into next year. Who's got the better situation? Who's got the worst situation? And then we'll also do our top 5 quarterbacks that we have coming into next year as well. We got some NCAA football that we'll talk about as well, college football. We've got the NCAA game getting ready to come out. NCAA College Football 26 coming out. Got some new faces on the cover. We'll talk about that a little bit today as well. We'll also get a chance to talk about the game tonight, the Thunder versus the Timberwolves, as the Minnesota Timberwolves find themselves down 3-1 in this series after losing to Oklahoma City in their last game. They'll get one last chance of redemption one more chance. I won't say one last chance. They'll get one more chance of redemption tonight as they get ready to take on the Oklahoma City Thunder, who look like they're primed and ready to head to the NBA Finals. Like I said, I want to thank everybody for tuning in with us here today. If you're watching with us on YouTube, Centex Sports Network / Centex Sports TV over on YouTube, I want to thank you guys for tuning in with us. Also, hit that subscribe button if you are watching with us. And as always, you can click the bell so you can get notified every time that we go live here on Centex Primetime. Also, you can follow me and the show on Instagram. My ad is at the bottom ticker at Jalen Gillis on Instagram. And you can also follow the show on Instagram at Centex Primetime. If you haven't already, go to the website, CentexSportsNetwork.com. Of course, you can watch this show every single day. You can also catch recaps of this show on the website. And there's a lot of other content you can check out about what's going on in the Central Texas area. So make sure you guys go on there, free subscription, CentexSportsNetwork.com. Go on there and check us out and make sure you guys get signed up for that. Well, folks, we're going to get right into it. Like I said, lots to talk about today, and it starts with the Indiana Pacers taking a 3-1 lead over the New York Knicks, who were favored in this series, who seemed like the favorite after they took out the defending champs in the Boston Celtics, although that was without Jason Tatum. These guys have looked great so far in this postseason, and a lot of comebacks in that Boston series, comebacks in both of their series for the New York Knicks, even against the Pistons. But sometimes what will make you laugh will make you cry, and that's what we're seeing from the New York Knicks, as the Pacers have now been the comeback kings over the New York Knicks, especially in that game one that the Knicks are really going to kick themselves about letting that game slip away. The Pacers have been dominant since then. I thought coming into this, the New York Knicks were the better team, but clearly the Pacers have to be considered the better team after the performance they've put on through this series. Through 4 games, Tyrese Halliburton's been great. We've seen great outbursts from Pascal Siakam. We've seen Aaron Nesmith with a heroic performance after game one, going 8 for 9 for 3. Last night we saw Ben Mathurin getting in on the action as well and being able to help close out this deal versus the Knicks. But Tyrese Halliburton has shined above the rest of them, especially in this series. Last night was his biggest game, not only in this playoffs, probably the biggest game of his career. You're playing at home. It's a 2-1 series. Knicks have a chance to tie this thing up. They've already got home court advantage. They could tie it up and try to win out at home. Tyrese Halliburton steps up in a huge way for this team. 32 points, 4 steals, 15 assists, and 12 rebounds to go along with it. Tyrese Halliburton with a huge game. And all of that without committing one single turnover. This marks the first time in NBA playoff history a player has had a stat line like that with 0 turnovers. Tyrese Halliburton, they've been talking about the last couple of days. Oh, is Halliburton a superstar? I wouldn't consider Tyrese Halliburton a superstar. And before the series started, really before the playoffs started, I kind of thought it was a little bit funny that they voted Tyrese Halliburton most overrated player. I didn't think he's the most overrated player. I definitely could think of some more overrated players than Tyrese Halliburton. But I didn't think that he was a guy, I thought they could have filled that spot in better on Team USA with somebody better than Tyrese Halliburton. I thought maybe that he's getting a little bit too much recognition. People were starting to call him the best point guard in basketball, and I'm like, it's a little out of control. But the way he's performed in this playoffs, 3 game winners in this playoffs, or 3 buzzer beaters in this playoffs, 2 of them game winners, 1 of them a game tire to go into overtime in a game that they eventually win. Tyrese Halliburton has played phenomenal. Then you come out and have a stat line like this last one, 32 points, 15 assists, and 12 boards to go along with 4 steals. Absolutely crazy, man. I can't believe Tyrese Halliburton has played not only this good in this game, but throughout this entire playoffs. He's been a star, and if he gets this team to the finals, I have to start to consider him as a guy that can go ahead and be considered a superstar. I said consider. I wouldn't bring it all the way in at that point and saying he's just a superstar just yet. But I think Tyrese Halliburton is right on the cusp of being able to become a superstar in this league, especially when you put out performances like the one last night. On the Knicks side of things, the Knicks have fallen short once again. They gave up their home court advantage. They got a good game from Jalen Brunson yesterday and a decent game for Karl Anthony Towns, but still wasn't enough to be able to punch their ticket and to be able to tie this game up or to tie this series up at 2-2. Josh Hart off the bench has been productive for them off the bench, but outside of him, they haven't had any real production off of the bench. Miles McBride, who played the most minutes outside of Hart off the bench, just 3 points in this game. Landry Shamet and DeLon Wright got a little bit more burn as they tried to replicate the success they had in Game 3 from playing their bench. Just wasn't able to do it. So the Knicks still fall short in this one. Joining me here on the show today, folks, we've got a special guest in the house with us, somebody we have on here every week, Mr. Wayne Walker in the building with us. Wayne, we just got done started talking about this New York Knicks and Pacers series as the Pacers take a 3-1 lead now over the Knicks. Like I said, I think I've picked against the Pacers in the last 2 series. I picked Cleveland to be able to beat them, now albeit that was before all of the injuries. But I did pick the Knicks to be able to beat these Pacers too. And the Pacers have proved me wrong, seems like every turn so far in this playoffs. What do you think about the Pacers being able to close that one out at home yesterday?
Well, I knew they weren't going to lose 2 at home. They kind of gave the first home game away. But after they beat the Bucks and after they beat Cleveland, I kind of had them favored to beat the Knicks. And I heard you talking about Tyrese Halliburton and this and that. What is a star? A star is the person that shines the most, right?
That is true.
I mean, the brightest star. Yeah. And he was the star, and he's been doing that. The Milwaukee series, he did it. He did it the Cleveland series, and now he's doing it this series. So, yes, he's definitely a star. And he's done something that no other player has ever done last night. So he's making his mark on the game. And he is a star, but this Pacers team, this Pacers team is on a mission, you know, and I see them going to the finals, and I kind of see a matchup kind of shaping up with them in Oklahoma City. So 2 young teams, 2 evenly matched teams that both has benches, and I know it's premature to be talking about that, but hey, man, that's the way it's looking.
It's not too premature. They both down 3-1, so the Pacers. It's looking like Pacers versus Oklahoma City, and like I said before the playoffs, out of all the matchups that they probably didn't want the most, if you're the NBA, at least if you're the NBA marketing team, you didn't want Indiana versus Oklahoma City, but that's what they're gonna get in this finals is what it's looking like. This Pacers team, man, these guys are resilient. We've seen different guys step up for them. You've seen, like I talked about Nesmith and what he did in Game 1 with those 8 threes. Game 2, Pascal Siakam with 35 points. Now in this game, Tyrese Halliburton with the outstanding triple-double, no turnovers whatsoever. But they also got Ben Mathurin, who was hurt for them last year. He had 20 points in this game. The depth of this Pacers team, I think, is really taking out the Knicks right now.
That's the definition of a team. I mean, when you can have multiple guys that do it, and then you have multiple guys step up. You don't have to rely on one superstar to get it done. You know, if SGA doesn't score 30 points and he scores 10, then we may have a problem in OKC. But when with that Indiana Pacers team, man, you know, they have had a different guy step up and pull his weight. They got guys that pull their weight. Yeah. And they have guys that step up and perform, and that's the definition of a team, and that's what they've been throughout the playoffs.
Yeah, this team led by Coach Rick Carlisle, who's doing a phenomenal job coaching. I think he hasn't gotten enough recognition for the job. This is 2 back-to-back conference finals appearances. Like there's not, and Rick Carlisle's been able to do this with the Mavericks. Rick Carlisle's been able to do this with the Pistons in the early 2000s before Larry Brown took over for that team. So I mean, Rick Carlisle is a phenomenal coach, and he's really showing, in my opinion, out-coaching Coach Tibbs. Coach Tibbs hasn't made the proper adjustments. I think Karl Towns actually kind of bailed him out in Game 3 with him scoring that 20 points. We'd be having a completely different conversation about Coach Tibbs right now.
I mean, you're exactly right. I mean, Carlisle is a world champion. He's won a ring.
Yep.
Tibbs hadn't won anything.
No.
So and like you say, he's been there. He's been there, and with being there, you gain that experience of how to play in these situations, and he's definitely been doing that. He's been matching up great. He's been pulling all the right strings, or he's just, like you say, basically out coaching Tibbs.
Yeah,
so that's the thing.
Tibbs is a guy. I mean, he's had his chances. You think about his teams with the Bulls. The Wolves thing kind of got blown up once Jimmy Butler got out of there, and then with this Knicks team, he's been able to get them back to relevance. But at this point, I know the Knicks are wanting more than that. I know they're happy to be relevant again, and their fan base is definitely happy to be relevant because the whole 2010s, they were irrelevant. Most of the 2000s, they were irrelevant. So they're happy to be back in contention. But in order to get over that hump, I just don't know. I heard some people on one of the shows earlier saying they don't know if this Jalen Brunson and Karl Towns things can work. I think it's a little premature to say that because it's their first year together. But, I mean, if these guys don't find a way to at least be competitive, they have to win Game 5, in my opinion, for Tibbs to even be able to save his job. Because if they lose in Game 5, I think some fingers pointing is going to start happening for this New York Knicks team. They've made the trades. They've got the pieces. They found their star. The star took less money to keep more guys, and you still come up with short. And 2 years in a row to the Pacers when you were favored to beat the Pacers 2 years in a row.
Well, Jalen, I think, like you said, I think it's premature to kind of break it up. I think it's even premature to just start talking about Tibbs' job because they've gone farther than a lot of people expected.
Else
I'm thinking Boston was the favorite in this division, so you still got to the the Eastern Conference Finals. So with that being said, I think it's a pretty good year. I mean, you fell short of what you want to do, and what you want to do is win the World Championship. But Boston and Cleveland was in the way regardless of that.
They were.
So I'm thinking as the Knicks is probably about one of the top 5 teams in the Eastern Conference. So for them to make it to the Eastern Conference Finals, I think that's a successful year. I just don't think they have enough. And I don't know how they can get there either because they gave they gave everything up to New Jersey to get those guys over there. So I don't see a light at the end of the rainbow.
Yeah,
for the Knicks because Cleveland's gonna come back next year. Boston's gonna come back, which I think it'll be some changes in Boston as well.
Yeah,
but I don't see the Knicks being able to do nothing but run it back with the same team that they have and make some few minor changes. A few minor changes on their roster, but they can't make many because they don't have any capital. They don't have anything to give away.
They don't have any money. They don't have any. Draft picks. It's tough, like you said. They got to make some minor adjustments. Their biggest thing is they got to find a way to get production off their bench. They need to find a Lou Williams type of player, some type of 6-man type of guy that can come in and be instant offense for them. Because whenever Brunson and Karl Towns are on the court, which isn't many, they're on the court together most of the time. But when they're not, man, it's hard to get production out of these other guys. They built their team with really good role players, but whenever your stars aren't producing, those role players haven't stepped up and been able to take over for them either. So
they needed DeRozan, somebody that can come in and they can score and they can keep them relevant. I mean, but they don't have a bench. They've been playing 7 and 8, and it's cost them because Jalen Brunson's getting in foul trouble, Karl Anthony Towns getting in foul trouble. So the people that they hadn't been relying on, once they get in foul trouble, they have to go to them, and then it puts them in it puts them in a pickle.
Yeah.
Pretty much. But they have to have a deeper bench if they're going to be able to do something, because Indiana just showed how important, and Oklahoma City just showing how important the bench is, because these two teams have depth.
Yeah.
They can go 10 and 11 deep. And man, they just and the little guard. What's the little guard? Is it
on which team?
On the Pacers.
Oh, McConnell. Yeah,
McConnell
TJ
has been giving. Jalen Brunson. He been giving it to him, man. I mean, he been making him play defense.
Yeah.
And then on he's been making him play defense. And then on offense, they always got somebody that's connected to him and that's hitting them and bumping them and bruising them. And I just hadn't seen anybody been able to stick with him and play with him like that. But Indiana has the team and the depth to do it, and that's why they win in this series.
Yeah, McConnell is a guy that can come off the bench, instant offense. He can provide. He's picking up 94 feet. He's playing defensive. He's a good floor general. Ben Mathurin was a lottery pick. He was a guy that would have went higher, but he was hurt coming out of college. He would have went higher than what he went. He can show up and play, and yesterday he had 20 points. Obi Toppin, who got drafted by the Knicks, we've seen him have big-time games. He even hit a big three in last night's game to help them build their lead. So, man, the depth of this Pacers team, we've seen it all year long. I think their slow start that they got off to at the beginning of the year kind of made us all take our eyes off of the Pacers, because they got to the conference finals last year.
Yeah.
So it kind of made us take our eyes off the Pacers, but nobody really played better basketball than them probably last 2 months of the regular season.
Right.
Coming into this one, they dominated Milwaukee. Injuries or no injuries, they dominated Milwaukee.
Yeah.
They dominated Cleveland. If somebody on Cleveland gets hurt, they did what you expect them to do. You go out there and you dominate a team that's hurt, and that's what they did. And then this Knicks team, ain't no excuses. Both teams is healthy. Both guys are out there. Everybody's got their full complement of weapons. Pacers are just showing right now they're better than them. So they took a commanding 3-1 lead over the Knicks. I think this series is over. I see people still giving these guys life and like, oh, they can win Game 5 and it'll still be close for them if they get to 7. I'm not even saying I don't think they can win Game 5. I think they might can pull off a Game 5. But
you have a lot of proud New Yorkers.
Yeah, that's really all it is.
And then like you say, the networks. Anytime you have a L.A. or a New York team that's involved in the playoffs, you're going to get your rating.
Yep.
And so that's not going to happen this year?
No.
Two of the smaller markets in the league
in the entire league
that's going to probably be pitted against each other.
Yeah.
And that's to say OKC and Indiana.
Yeah, so that's I think that's who the matchup is going to be. I'm agreeing with you. I see OKC and Indiana. Looking at that, looking at the playoff run that Tyrese Halliburton has been on, and then the playoff run that SGA has been on, since we both think that they're going into the finals. Who do you think has had the better playoff run so far? SGA obviously putting up great numbers in the playoffs. He's averaging 30, 7 assists, 6 rebounds to go in their 13 games. Tyrese Halliburton has got a 44-6 assist to turnover ratio in the playoffs. Like he's playing out of his mind right now. Last night, I guess his pops was back in the building, so they gave him a little bit of extra juice, and he really topped it off. But both of these guys have been playing phenomenal, and I think this is the point guard matchup we're gonna get in the finals. Who do you think has had the better run so far in this playoffs?
I have to give it to Halliburton. He's been that guy, man.
That's what I think.
Hadn't been turning the ball over. And he hasn't been scoring the amount of points per game that SGA has, but he's been that all-around player, man. He's been steals. If you look at steals, you look at assists, you look at clutch points.
Yeah, especially clutch points.
You look at all of those things and you put them together, man. He's been the most complete player. He's been, like I say, he's the shortest, the star that's shining brighter to me than anybody in these playoffs.
This has been, in my opinion, this has been the Halliburton playoff run to me. So I'm definitely taking Halliburton. He hit 3 game winners in 1 playoff run, and we're not even done yet. We hadn't even got to the finals. We don't know what he's going to do in the finals.
Exactly.
He just had a 30-point triple-double with no turnovers in the playoffs, and you dribbling the whole game. Some people don't understand how tough that is to do when you have the ball in the hands. the entire game, and you don't turn it over once in a playoff game. Everybody's running and sprinting and playing as hard as they can.
Right.
Man, this guy's been playing phenomenal. Like I said, his pops is back in the building. They got the juice going. This Indiana team, not only do I think they're going to the finals, I think they're going to give OKC a run for their money. I got Oklahoma. If I had to pick right now, I got OKC winning the entire thing. I think they're the most complete team, and then defensively, I think they're head and shoulders over everybody else. But man, it's going to be no slouch. This Pacers team, you can't take any games off. I seen OKC pull out that game last game against the Timberwolves, but they only won by 2 points, and both their stars on the Timberwolves combined for 20 points. So
I think they have similar rosters, man.
They do. They do.
I mean, they can match up with each other. They'll match up with each other great. And then they have defensive guys that can play and stop SGA. But the same thing can be said about Oklahoma City.
Yeah.
And they got the bigs, they got the longs, they got the bench. So it's just the similarities within the roster are basically almost similar. Almost the same. So, I would pick Oklahoma City because they've been playing better than anybody the whole year. If you look at the whole body of work throughout the whole year, they had the best record in the league, and that wasn't by coincidence. That was
68 wins.
They did that. So I would take Oklahoma City right now, and then they would have the first 2 home games because of that record. But man, don't. I'm not gonna sleep on Indiana either.
I can't do it anymore. I've done it twice already in this playoffs.
These guys are for real. These guys.
I thought Cleveland was gonna take them out. I thought the Knicks had a better team than them to start this off. They proved me wrong. Like I said at the beginning of the show, they proved me wrong with just about every single turn so far. So right now, like I said, Indiana 3-1 lead over the Knicks in this series. Tonight, we got a game, the Timberwolves versus OKC, and we'll talk a little bit more about the game tonight when we close the show. But I do want to talk about their game 4 performance for the Minnesota Timberwolves. This is a game where they came up just short. They only fell by 2 points in this game. But I did not like what I saw from Anthony Edwards as far as his aggressiveness. He only took 13 shots. So he had 16 points, but it wasn't like he had 16 points and he was, 5 for 30 or something like that. He only took 13. He wasn't shooting the ball. And 7 of those 13 shots were threes. So he wasn't being aggressive and getting to the cup. Julius Randle had his worst game of the entire playoffs. He went 1 for 7, I think, and scored 5 points in that game. After the game is what was kind of alarming to me. They asked Anthony Edwards about, the struggles in this game, and did you struggle? He said, I don't think I struggled at all because it's not like I was missing shots. I just wasn't taking shots. And I was just kind of playing within the system of the game, the flow of the game, and making the right basketball plays, what he said. I don't agree with that. If your job is to score, the right basketball play is for you to score. I understand we've heard LeBron and other guys say that we make the right basketball play. That's their job, is to get everybody involved. Anthony Edwards' job is to go and get buckets, and specifically driving to the cup, getting guys in foul trouble, keeping guys honest. Yeah. Then you find your ways to kick out to those threes and find those other guys involved after you've been aggressive. But to come out and not be aggressive whatsoever, especially when we seen how aggressive he was in Game 3 when they dominated the Thunder. I was expecting to see that in Game 4 and didn't see it. What do you think about Anthony Edwards' comments about him not being aggressive or not struggling in that game?
Well, that's a problem for me because he's the catalyst. He's the guy. He's that man. When I go back and I watched a lot of, and I grew up watching a lot of the 90s basketball with Jordan, and everybody knew who was going to be the leading scorer of that game. Everybody knew
before
Jordan
it even started.
Before it started. Because he was going to lead the way.
Yeah.
Because he was that man, and he took that burden, and he took it upon his shoulders, and he was going to do everything he can to score, and that was his job. He was a scorer. You talk about stars, and you talk about the face of the league, and everybody's kind of trying to brand him with that. And he's not that, because when you are the face of the league and you are a scorer and you're supposed to be you're supposed to be the most dominant guy on your team, you're the alpha male, pretty much. You have to take control and you have to take charge.
Yeah.
And you're going to score baskets any way you can. even if that's driving to the basket or you doing a mid-range. It's okay to make the shots, but sometimes as the superstar, you have to be selfish. And he hadn't been selfish enough. And that's why they're fouling. And then he doesn't realize that he has to go out and score at least 25 to 30 points per game for them to be efficient. And if he's not realizing that, they're gonna keep tumbling. They're gonna lose. Myself, when we talked about this last week, I told you I thought this was gonna be a sweep.
Yeah.
But I'm close enough. It's gonna be 4-1.
You close, because I think it's gonna be over with tonight for them, especially playing back at Oklahoma City. Man, that crowd is gonna be ridiculous. They know what they're going up against. They blew you out the last time you were here. The last 2 times you were here, they blew you out. So I don't know if it'll be a blowout, but I expect the Thunder to be able to come out with this. And I'm like you. That's why I hated the Anthony Edwards and Michael Jordan comparisons. I know that they both dark-skinned and can dunk on people, but we give these people these comparisons too early, and it shows out to be very far from the truth. No one ever had to tell Jordan to not shoot.
Right.
Or to shoot more, No one ever had to tell him to shoot more. That never happened. No one ever had to tell Kobe to shoot more. Like, that never had to happen. If we got to tell you, because some people say, oh, well, it's just one game. I feel like I've had this conversation 3 or 4 times in just this playoffs alone.
You have
Anthony Edwards getting 18 points, 20 points, 15 points.
He has to be that guy to lead them in scoring every night.
Every single night.
Yeah.
If you want to take on that burden, and then we go back in the regular season, and you're saying, well, I'm not necessarily wanting to be the face of the league. I'm not looking for that. And then you go back to other times in the regular season when you say stuff, and it's like, man, now all of this is coming together, and then we see you go out and have a game like this and say, well, I didn't struggle, I just wasn't shooting the ball. Well, you not shooting the ball is struggling.
Yeah. That's a problem within itself. You have to shoot the ball. You have to lead this team in scoring. You have to be the alpha male out there and go out and just and dominate games. And I don't care how you do it. I don't care if your three's not falling, you have to go to the basket.
Yes.
And I think he relies on a 3-point shot too much, and that's been a problem for him. When they came into this playoffs and they said he was leading the league in 3-point, that's a problem, because this guy is a dynamic guy when he goes to the basket, and he can score in a array of ways when he gets to the basket, when he's going to the cup. And so when you stop doing that and you start shooting threes, you make it easy for him to defend, because all they had to do is throw a hand up in your face. And the 3-point shot is the hardest shot in basketball. So you have to be Steph Curry. It makes it easy because that's his job, and he's got it down to a science.
He's the best ever. So
the best ever.
He can do that.
But it's very few guys that can just do that.
No.
And Anthony Edwards is not that guy to just really do that.
No.
And he's had his moments. He had some games where he's hit the 3, but he's just really not consistent enough to just rely on a 3-point play.
Man, we've seen all the greats. Jordan could shoot the 3. He wasn't going out there shooting threes, ever checking 10 threes. Kobe could shoot the 3. He wasn't in the playoff scenario. He's not going out there taking 10 to 15 threes. LeBron has gotten at a better 3-point shooter over his career. He's not going to sit there and take 10, 15 threes. He knows his job is to get downhill. That's how you get everybody else involved. You can only get other people involved if you're being aggressive. You can't get everybody involved by just passing the ball.
And there, too, you're not getting to the free throw line. You can
There and
you can get fouled, and you can get free throw shots.
Other team in foul trouble.
Yeah. So, I mean, when you just shooting outside, man, it's the most difficult shot in basketball. It really is, and it puts no pressure on the defense at all when you're shooting threes, especially when you're not making them.
I think they've got to find a guy. I don't know who. His idol is Kevin Durant. I don't think they can get Kevin Durant out there in the Timberwolves, but they got to find a guy that can put Anthony Edwards under their wing as far as mentoring him. I know that they've got some vets like Randall and Gobert and Conley, but they've never been the guy before. They need somebody there, in my opinion, to help Anthony Edwards know what it's like and know what it is to be the guy out there on the court, because he said some questionable things in the media. His off-the-court decisions are are questionable, to say the least. He's been in the news plenty of times for stuff that does not have something to do with basketball. So, I mean, he's got to find a way to be able to lock in some more as going into next season, because this one's over with. I feel this is over with. But going into next season, if they want to take that next step, because you'll just be known as the guy that got to 2 conference finals, like Kevin Garnett was in Minnesota. He was known as the guy that got to a conference finals once and lost to Shaq and Kobe. But until he went to Boston and won, he wasn't going to be known for his success. Wasn't going to be known for anything more than that. And I'm thinking that right now for Anthony Edwards. I know he's young. He's got an entire career in front of him. But right now you're going to be known as the guy that's gone to 2 Western Conference finals and gotten whooped, because I don't know if he's running out of energy or whatever the deal is. He hasn't been able to take that next step within his game when it comes to the playoffs. So that game tonight at 7:30, we'll talk about it a little bit more as we close the show out. But man, yeah, it's tough for Anthony Edwards and those guys going into this game.
Man. It's tough, man. Yeah, and then the thing about that Jalen is, this might be their last year getting there, because everybody in the Western Conference is getting better. You got to think about Dallas and you're going to think about L.A., you got to think about Denver possibly coming back, and then you got to think about San Antonio and Houston, and all these teams will be getting better. So, man, when you get these opportunities, you get these chances, you got to make the best of them, and they haven't made the best of them. And just getting to the Western Conference Finals is not good enough. You have to get to that championship level where you can win. And when you the star of the team, you have to impose your will, and he hadn't been able to do that.
Haven't been able to do that so far, and I'm like you said, you've got to be able to do more than that once you get there, because I don't see this Timberwolves team getting back. I think last year they had a really good run. You know, they beat a Denver team. This year, I thought they honestly just got a good shake on the matchups. You go against the Lakers, who were playing a 6'6" small forward at center, so Gobert just got a chance to dominate. You play the Warriors without Steph Curry. That's not even a playoff team. That's not even a playoff caliber team. If you're talking about the Warriors without a Steph Curry, you're playing a 13 or 14 seed type of team at that point. Now you get to your first real challenge, and not only are you on the verge again, you really don't even almost put up a fight. You blew them out in game 3, but outside of that, you got them blown out every single time you stepped on the floor with these guys.
Man, you talked about it. I told you. I said, hey, this is going to be a sweep. I'm thinking this is going to be a sweep.
Yeah.
The matchup to me is just favorable for OKC. And I just hadn't liked what I seen out of Minnesota the whole playoffs. Even though they're in the Western Conference Finals, what I've seen is just hadn't been good enough for me.
They don't look like a top 2 team in the West, in my opinion. They look like a team that got
they're too erratic. They're too erratic to me. And then when your superstar is not leading, and you relying on guys like Naz Reid, you got Alexander Walker, and guys like that to lead you. He has to be that man, and when if he's not that man, and if he's not going to go out there and produce game after game after game, then they're not going to be relevant at all.
No, and that's for this series and for going forward throughout the next couple of years. If he's not going to step up and take that, you're already playing in Minnesota, so it's not like it's a lot of people watching you, and it's not the Clippers or the Knicks or the Nets or the Lakers. It's not a lot of people watching you already. If y'all end up falling off, man, and I mean that could be the end of your run in Minnesota. We could see you being somewhere else after that. So Anthony Edwards and those guys trying to pull off a tough feat. It's not over yet. Don't want to call it, but I mean the fat lady is warming up. I ain't gonna say she's singing yet, but she's getting her vocal cords ready to start her song after tonight's game. That game is 7:30 tonight as they'll play on ESPN. Timberwolves versus the Oklahoma City Thunder. The Thunder just one win away from making the finals for the first time since 2012. I want to switch over and talk about some local topics, folks, here in the Central Texas area. First feed of news is some sad news. A tragic loss of Baylor defensive end Alex Foster, who was gunned down in his hometown last night, found with multiple gunshot wounds out in Greenville, Mississippi. This is the time of year when guys are back at home. You know, you get out of spring ball and get a chance to go home a little bit before you come back for the summer. Unfortunately, Alex Foster was a recipient of some gun violence and ended up losing his life in this situation. Wayne, one part of it is, I want you to talk about just the what you thought about after hearing the news, but you've been in the scenario where you've come back to your hometown and you're the guy and you actually have something to lose, and you might be in a scenario where you're around guys that don't have much to lose. But you have the future. You're doing something productive within your life. Sometimes you got to, we don't know all the situation, but sometimes you can't be in certain places and can't be around certain crowds, especially when you're in a small city and everybody knows you're the man and everybody knows you're the guy that's got something to lose. What do you think about hearing the news about the tragic loss of Alex Foster?
Man, very, very, very sad and unfortunate situation. I mean, in his young life that's lost to where you don't even really get to see what he could be in his life.
Yeah.
Man, and it's sad. It's sad for the Baylor families, and especially sad for his family back home in Mississippi. When you have a person that's doing positive things and can come out of that life, and then you don't even really get to see it. They don't even really get to shake that way because your life was lost too soon. Very sad and unfortunate situation for the Baylor family and for him. And his family.
Yeah, super tough situation, man. To all the athletes that are out there, you got to treat yourself and conduct yourself in a certain way. You can't be in every place, can't be in every scenario. You can't, in some situations, sometimes, can't even hang with the same type of guys because all it takes is wrong place, wrong time.
And I grew up in probably when I was in college is when crack cocaine hit Waco.
Yeah.
And it hit my neighborhood, probably the worst of any neighborhood in Waco. And it's called Parkside. It was one of the roughest sides of town or whatever. And but when I came back, you have to you want to hang with your friends. And I had friends that were selling drugs. I had friends that were on drugs. But you just have to keep yourself out of those situations. And a true friend and true friends don't want you to be in that situation.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're gonna keep you out of it, and they're gonna tell you, hey man, hey, I'm doing this, or I don't want you around this. And I had people like that. I had people that had my back and was able to say, hey, hey, you ain't going over here.
Yeah,
You're not gonna do this, or you're not doing that. And I was fortunate, but you just have to be smart in those situations because everybody ain't down for you like that. You have people that hate on you because of who you are. You have people because you got a scholarship and you playing college football. So you have people that hate on you just because. And even though you're not arrogant or you don't think you the man or whatever, they may think that.
Yeah.
So, they take you the wrong way and they don't even really know you or they don't really understand you. But you just have to keep yourself out of those situations, man, because everybody ain't down for you. And some friends you just have to let go. Some friends you can't hang out with, you can speak to them. And that don't mean you're a mean person, but that just means you're doing different things at this time in your life. And so you just have to move on from them guys, and you got to keep it at a distance and say, hey, man, you still my boy, and you still can shake his hand and dab him up and hug him and stuff like that, but you don't have to hang out with him. And you don't have to go to these places to try to impress your friends and say, hey, well, I'm still that same old guy that came out of Parkside or and I'm going to keep doing the same things. You have to adjust your life, and you have to adjust the things that you do because, like I say, everybody ain't down with you.
No, you'll figure out who your real friends are and who your real friends aren't. Like you said, your real friends won't even put you in that scenario, especially when you know that you're a guy that can get out of this situation. So, it's a tragic scenario, and definitely praying for his family and for the entire Baylor family, man. This is an 18-year-old kid, like you said, so much life in front of him. Didn't even get a chance to showcase what he could have been just yet. So it's all in all a sad story. And also definitely rest in peace to Alex Foster and prayers to his entire family. I want to switch over to a couple more local topics we have going on here in the Central Texas area. The state championships for softball are this week. Softball state champions. And Central Texas is being represented very, very well within these softball playoffs. Starting with my alma mater, the Midway Panthers, they're headed out to play in the 6A state championship game. They'll play on 4 o'clock, I believe, on Saturday, as they'll play Clear Springs, a team from the Houston area. They'll play them. This is the second straight appearance for the Midway Panthers in the state championship softball, in the softball state championship. What do you think about Midway getting back to this softball state championship and really just a phenomenal season because they play great all year long?
Yeah. I mean, you have to think about Midway. They are perennial power, traditional power in softball.
For sure.
Who has won state before, and they've always had a great program, and sometimes you with programs you have those up and down years, but they've been consistent throughout the whole time, and I'm one of those guys that that umpire softball and have seen these girls grow up and play, starting from the little league level, the Midway and going through that process. But hey, man, it's good to see Central Texas represented, and like I say, these girls play at an elite level, all around Central Texas, and so it's not a surprise to me to see them there. Like you say, they went last year. They didn't win it last year, but when you return a bevy of underclassmen, that's your goal. Is to go the next year and you want to win state. And so I'm happy for them. Let's bring home the gold, Midway.
Yeah. Hopefully Midway can go out there and close the deal out this time. But like you said, a phenomenal feat to even be able to get to back-to-back state championship games. Robinson High School is also in it, competing for the 4A Division II state title. They'll play at 10 o'clock on Friday. They got a great player in Lexi Rosillo who's broken their home run record there for the softball team. She's committed to Louisiana Monroe going out there. And then even at the smaller level on 2A, Riesel is headed out to their first ever softball state championship appearance. They'll play Ganado. They play tomorrow at 1 o'clock, so I'll definitely be tuning in to be able to catch that game tomorrow. This Central Texas area filled with talent. We talk about it a lot for football, obviously, but baseball and softball are doing their things as well. On the baseball side of it, Midway was able to get a victory in extra innings over Klein Kane High School in the state semifinals. So they'll be heading out in the quarterfinals. So they're headed to the semifinal game this weekend to be able to play once again. This Midway team, like you said, you've been umpiring in this area, so you got to see a lot of these teams. This Midway team is loaded with talent. They got a guy that's committed to come play baseball for Baylor as well out there from Midway. They're heading back to the semifinals once again. So what do you think about this Midway baseball team?
It's the same as the girls. I mean, baseball is – I mean, if you go back and you just look at district over the last 20 years, I bet whether they were 5A or 6A, you would probably say Midway has probably won it at least 17 times out of the 20 years. I mean – they're going to be that representative from that district.
They dominate.
They dominate. So it's not a surprise again. Like I say, when you play in that 6A, that 6A level, we have great baseball in Central Texas. We have a lot of select teams, and a lot of those kids that play on those select teams go to Midway and play baseball. So these guys start at a young age, and like I said, they're perennial power every year, and so it's not a surprise for me to see the guys as well. And I want to see them. I want to wish them much success.
Yeah.
And I want them to bring home the goal as well.
Yeah, Midway heading out there, perennial powerhouse as well. I think back to the time when I was in high school there, I didn't even really watch baseball much, but everybody would go to the games at the time. Kramer was playing and Hunter Drummer were playing, so Midway was loaded. So everybody would come to the baseball games. It'd be packed out there, man. So I definitely like seeing it as well. But also moving on in the next round of the playoffs, we talked about the high school level being represented very well in Central Texas. But even on the JUCO level is MCC Baseball, who has another perennial powerhouse type of team. They're moving on to the next round in the JUCO World Series, or moving on to the JUCO World Series as they got put into the losers bracket, had a chance to redeem themselves. They played against Blinn. They beat them 18-9, so had a really good showing against that and getting their mojo back going. This is a team I've been able to watch from start to finish. We did all of their home games right here on Centex Sports Network, so been able to watch this team. This is a team that's resilient. This is a team that when you count them out, because they've been counted out multiple times playing in a super tough conference with teams like Weatherford and Ranger and all these different teams, guys that are really good baseball programs. This MCC team has been resilient. They stay alive. They'll play tomorrow again on Thursday at 8 o'clock for a chance to be able to stay alive in this tournament once again. So MCC, a team that won it just 2 or 3 years ago. I think that was 2021 when they were able to win. And Coach Mitch went on to coach at Baylor now, and now Coach Tyler has been there taking over for him. What do you think about MCC keeping their hopes alive now and staying in this JUCO World Series?
Bosky boys.
Yeah, the Bosky boys.
And, man, they, able to recruit real well.
Man, great job.
Centrally located. And when you talk about Texas, Texas, California, and Florida,
Baseball
is king, man. And football.
Yeah, and football.
You have these guys that can play ball. And with MCC winning it a few years ago, all it did was up their level a little bit, where they were able to recruit some guys that can come in and play. And now they're one of those premier schools that guys want to go and play for. And so, again, Jalen, it doesn't surprise me to see them playing for the chance. And they play in a tough conference.
Yes.
Weatherford.
Weatherford's phenomenal this year.
Man, you got some good baseball, JUCO baseball in Texas, and a lot of these guys get drafted to go on and play pro ball, and we'll see some of these guys in the future. But, man, MCC is one of the great JUCO powers in the nation. So it's not a surprise for me to see them there as well.
Yeah, not surprised to see this MCC team back at it, man. These guys, like I said, have fought hard all year long. We're definitely rooting for you, and we'll be tuned in. I believe the game will be on one of the ESPNs. It's a lot of them that got now, but it'll be on one of the ESPNs when they play tomorrow at 8 o'clock. So definitely be tuned in for that. Sticking with a little bit of college here, the other college team we have here locally is the Baylor Bears. They snag another top 40 recruit in the recruiting as they get 4-star Elijah Williams, who's ranked number 40 in the class of 2026, headed out to Baylor as he commits to Baylor. They get the son of NBA coach and former player Monty Williams, so he's heading down there to Baylor. Wayne, I want to ask what Baylor, because for the last at least 5 or 6 years, they get a guy like this. It's going to be a top 30 guy. We're coming off of having VJ Edgecombe, who's projected to be a top 5 pick in this draft. What do they have to do to be able to not only – I don't want to say develop this talent because those guys are young, but to help build a team around them to where they can do more than getting to that first round or that second round, because it ain't a talent issue. They get a guy that's a 4 or 5 star every single year. The reports come out they're a top 10 spender in NIL money in college basketball. So they're spending the bread, but what do they need to be able to help fill this roster out and get to that next level, in your opinion?
It's going to be hard now.
Yeah.
Because you got the Dukies of the world that's playing. Then you got St. John's.
Yeah, St.
Now
John's
that's going to be a
too.
player. You got Kentucky and today's, Baylor has always been that team, and they won a championship not less than 10 years ago. And so they did it the right way before the NIL. But you got a guy that can go out and recruit. Drew can go out and recruit, and he knows what to tell these guys to get these commitments. And he's been doing it for the last 10 years, where he's always had a top 10, top 50 recruit or 2 or 3.
Yeah.
So our credit goes to him. Our credit goes to him, and as Baylor has put out NBA players over the few years.
Yeah.
So when you get that type of resume where you can go in kids' home and you can recruit, and then you can tell them really what they want to hear and tell them that, hey, you can come and be a part of something special. And I've developed guys, and I got 7 or 8 guys in the NBA. That's where you want to come play.
Yeah.
You want to come and play because, a lot of times guys don't just look at just the college part of it. They're looking at the NBA part, especially when you're a top 40 or 50 recruit.
Yeah.
You're not looking at just coming here and just winning, especially nowadays. You know, you got guys that's coming in doing one and out.
Yeah,
one and done.
exactly.
They one and done.
If you're a top 30 recruit, you thinking one and done most of the time.
Yeah. If you come in and have and you have an outstanding year, you're thinking one and done. You're not thinking coming here and going 4 years.
No.
So, I mean, he's telling these guys what they want to hear. I'm not going to stop you from going, or I can help you develop to get to that level. But the roster around him, you're never going to have that roster around him, because now you got to have guys that's going to be in the program 2, 3, 4, in 4 years. You got to have those seniors on your team.
Yeah.
So going out and getting a recruit as far as a top level recruit and a top 30, top 50 recruit, the problem with that is you may be losing them in the next 2 years. And you don't get to develop chemistry with the rest of the team. So that's the problem that Baylor has.
Yeah, it's keeping those guys. I agree with you 100% because they've put out, I believe it's 4 years in a row now having a lottery pick. So that helps a lot when you're making your recruiting pitch. If you're Scott Drew, Davion Mitchell, Keontae George, Jacoby Walter, and now we're going to see VJ Edgecombe going to be a top 5 pick probably in this year's draft. So that helps them in recruiting, but they didn't get a chance to keep those guys in the program, to develop those guys, have another year when Davion and those guys won. I mean, Davion had been in the program 2 years. Jared Butler had been in the program 3 or 4 years. Maceo Teague was a 5th-year senior.
Right.
So
right.
They had a lot of experience on that team.
And that's why they won a championship.
And that's why they won a championship. I thought they would have won 2 years in a row if COVID didn't shut down the season, because that team the year before that was loaded. I thought they could have had a chance to go back-to-back, but that was the reason they were able to win. So if they could find a way within that transfer portal to find some of those, because that's a lot of guys that are getting the NIL money in college basketball, because the top 50 recruits, they're thinking one and done. Hey, I'm going to come in here for a couple of months, and I'm going to get out of here. But what about the guys that are transferring from Virginia or transferring from a group of 5 school, the guys coming from UMHB and places like that? Like, they've got to have a place in there too. So it's a little bit more difficult building a team out, but I think Scott Drew he's proven he's the guy for the job. And like you said, they just won a title 4 years ago, so he's proven he's the guy for the job. But they helped their chances by getting another top recruit, and excited to see what Elijah Williams can do out there in a Baylor uniform and keep up this tradition now of top players that they've had coming into Baylor for the last 4 or 5 years. Before we switch over and talk about a little bit of NFL, I want to talk about some high school, a little bit of high school football, as Dave Campbell's has put out a list of their top wide receiver, QB and wide receiver combos coming back for each individual classification. In 4A, one of the top QB and receiver duos they put on there is a duo that we've seen a lot in this last year, and that's Courtney Parr and Jabari Thornton over there at La Vega, man. This is, I think, probably the top wide receiver and QB duo coming back in the Central Texas area. When you think about Thornton, who's committed to Oklahoma State now, Courtney Parr, who was just a sophomore last year and led him to state, this is one of the best duos and a guy that I expect to be a hot D1 commodity, especially coming out of his junior year this next year. But what do you think about them being named as a top duo going into next year's football season?
Well, man, they definitely had that chemistry. Man,
yes,
where they was
sure.
Well, they was throwing and catching, man, throwing it down the field. So, kudos to these guys, man. And that's what you want to do as a quarterback receiver. You know, me being a former receiver myself, man, is you got to have that chemistry, and you have to be on the same level. And to have that type of chemistry and throwing that ball down the field, throwing and catching, man, it's such a magical thing. So I love it. And the thing I can say is it's only going to get better. You know, if you think last year was good, wait till you see this year.
Yeah.
It's going to be a lot better because now you have that familiarity with one another, and you do have that chemistry that receivers, that a thrower and a pass catcher needs to have.
Yeah, so, I can't wait to be able to watch this one. They kind of got put onto each other in the middle of the season as Courtney Parr took over after about game 3 or 4. But, man, after that, there was no looking back whatsoever. I talked about yesterday on the show how La Vega's going out to the state games for the 7-on-7. And I was watching some of the highlights from the qualifiers when they were playing. Man, they couldn't do anything with Jabari Thornton out there. I watched it all year long with them in La Vega. But seeing them take that next step in their growth together, man, I think that's going to be one of the top duos, not just in this area, but I think in the entire state of Texas.
No doubt, no
between
doubt.
those two
Now,
guys.
that's what I say. Now you give them a summer and off season together to complement that and to work on it a little bit even more, and you give them 7-on-7, and it's magical as a pass catcher and a thrower to have that chemistry to be able to do that. So now they're going to be on the same level, on the same key, the same page. So it's going to even be better this year.
Yeah, I can't wait to be able to watch that duo. And like I said, the state 7-on-7 championships, I believe, are at the end of June. I'm gonna try to get out there and make it and sweat in that heat for a little bit to watch some of those local guys play. La Vega made it out there. Midway, their team is gonna be out there. My nephew plays for Midway, so I'll be out there checking them out, man, and seeing what they're gonna do in these 7-on-7 tournaments. I want to switch over to a little bit of NFL as we jump into some NFL before we get off the show here today, and we'll talk some more about the Timberwolves versus Thunder. That game coming on in about an hour as well. Looking at the NFL next year. There's been a lot of talk about the top 5 QBs going into next year, going into next season. I think at least 3 or 4 of these guys are pretty solidified in their spots as far as the top 5 QBs going into the next year. But my top 5 going for the QBs going into next year at 1, still can't replace Patrick Mahomes. I know he lost in the championship, and people will say, oh, maybe Joe Burrow won the MVP, or Josh Allen won the MVP, or Lamar. Mahomes is still the best guy in the NFL, regardless of them losing in the championship. They got to 3 in a row. He's never lost. He's never lost short of the AFC Championship. Still, he's got multiple MVPs, multiple Super Bowl rings. He's still the top dog within the NFL. At the number 2 spot, Josh Allen won the MVP last year, but I still think Lamar Jackson has been playing at a phenomenal level. I think last year he had his best season. It just happened to not win the MVP last year. I like Lamar Jackson at my number 2 spot coming into next year. At number 3, I'll put Josh Allen right there. Phenomenal season last year. A lot of people didn't think he'd be able to do it last year because of lack of weapons. Stephon Diggs left and Gabe Davis left, and he goes out there and has a phenomenal year and gets them to the AFC Championship and wins MVP. At my 4th spot, even though they didn't make the playoffs last year, I still like Joe Burrow right there. This is a guy that came in his second year, really his first full season playing. They went to the Super Bowl. The next season after that, they were in the AFC Championship game and lost to the Chiefs. Since then, they've kind of fallen off a little bit, but I don't think that has as much to do with him as it is his team hasn't been able to produce, man. The Bengals haven't had a good team.
Defense.
We watched their defense. Last year, I know a lot of people had a lot to say about Joe Burrow, but I don't understand what more he could have done last year. If you lose 5 or more games when you score 30-plus points, what do you expect him to do as an NFL offense? You expect him to score 40-something every single game like this is the old Big 12 or something like that? They're not going to be able to do that in the league. So I like him at that 4th spot. And at 5, that was the one that created a lot of controversy, and I got a lot of different answers from different people. But I like Jalen Hurts going in at number 5, man. The dude just won a Super Bowl MVP. I know that he doesn't give you the gaudy stats of 300, 400 yards a game and stuff like this, and he wasn't a top 5 guy in passing yards. But the dude is a leader. He's been to 2 Super Bowls, and he's outperformed everybody in both Super Bowls, even though he did not win in their first Super Bowl loss against Kansas City. A lot of that had to do with their defense. He played like the best player in that one, too. Then he comes out, wins the Super Bowl MVP, too. You can't shake his leadership. You can't change what he means to this team. No, he does not going to have 45 passing touchdowns or 50 passing touchdowns. But the dude can lead his team, and he makes winning plays. Wayne, who are your guys if you got to think about your top 5 guys going into next season at the quarterback spot?
I'm going with the guy from Texas Tech. The guy that's got the most rings.
That ain't shocking.
Yeah, so he's my guy at the number 2.
Mm-hmm.
At number 1.
Yeah.
At number 1. At my number 2, I'm gonna go Josh Allen.
Mm-hmm.
Josh Allen is my guy at number 2. Played at a high level for the last 3 years. Gotten his team to the AFC Championship game multiple times. And number 3 is going to be Lamar. Number 4 is going to be Barrow.
Mm-hmm.
And, man, my number 5 guy is going to be Matthew Stafford now, as long as he's playing.
Yeah, that was my choice between him and Stafford, man. Stafford's still a dog.
Yeah, he's a dog, and he got him to that next level. But And you know, Jalen Hurts is wonderful, but the supporting cast that Jalen Hurts
man.
works with, man, when you can run the ball and you got a defense and you got pass catchers around you. But he's in my top 10, believe me. He's in my top 10. So no disrespect on Jalen Hurts.
Oh, no, for sure.
Or none of the guys, because you could pick you can throw Dax in there.
You could throw Dak in there. Some people will say a guy like
Jaden
Goff
Daniels,
in there. Jaden Daniels could be in there.
Yeah, I mean, Herbert.
Herbert.
It's a lot of guys that you can put in there. But for me, those are my top 5.
I like that list a lot.
Stroud.
CJ could be put right in there too, and we'll talk more about expansive because I want to do a whole QB ranking list so we can have this set before we go into the season, because every season we get throughout the show we get to going back and forth of, I got this guy going in. But in the top 5, man, that fifth spot was tough. Like you said, you could put Stafford there. That's why I was going back and forth between Jalen Hurts and Stafford at that spot. I think Stafford is going to have – he had a good season last year. I think he's going to have an even better season this year with Devontae Adams coming into town. I think that's a sleeper pickup for what they have going. They got a lot of young talent on there. Obviously, Puka Nacua, if he stays healthy, he'll be great going into that one too. So I like that list too. Those are the top 5 guys we have as quarterbacks going into next year. One more quick take I have on the NFL and their quarterbacks is, heard some debate going on about this. I think it might have been a thread I seen on Twitter maybe about whose quarterback situation is worse going into next year. This isn't just the worst in the NFL. This is just out of these 2 teams. The 2 teams they were talking about is the Cleveland Browns and the Pittsburgh Steelers. When you look at the Cleveland Browns, they are kind of just all over the place. They've got 4 quarterbacks going into this. We talked about last week. They said they have a 4-way QB competition going into next year. I guess they take stats at practices and OTAs, and they put out some stats from yesterday's practice. Joe Flacco was 9 for 14. I don't know how they keep these stats because I don't know if these were all against defense or are these all. But they had Shedeur Sanders going 7 for 9 with 3 touchdowns. So I'm like, okay, is this against the threes? Is this against any defense at all? I don't know exactly what that.
Yeah, you're not going to be playing against. I mean, doing OTAs, you have over 100 guys. So everybody gonna get some burn. You know what I'm saying? So we don't know. I wasn't there. You wasn't there.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Well, we don't know.
But I know Shedeur Sanders wasn't playing against the first team defense.
Exactly.
And it's no rush. It's just basically 7-on-7. It's 7-on-7. Pretty much. So, man, those stats don't mean nothing if you don't have no live rush coming at you. So I don't take too fun of that because you don't have.
That's misleading stats. When I seen it, they said the Brown staff put the stats out. I'm like, these are kind of misleading stats. Now I do wonder why we keep seeing so much positive film of Shedeur Sanders, even though he's supposed to be the last guy on this QB ticket. Now they're putting the stats out. Dylan Gabriel was the only one in that list that threw an interception. Flacco and Pickett didn't throw any touchdowns, and Shedeur threw 3 touchdowns apparently. All the stuff I see coming out of Browns camp is positive for Shedeur. So that's an interesting topic to keep going into that. But the Browns, they're all over the place with their QB situation. And obviously their 5th quarterback, Deshaun Watson, who said he's taking on a mentor/leadership role for these young QBs going into the Browns since he's not going to be able to play this year. I don't necessarily know if the Browns want him to be a mentor to them going into that situation.
Some type of settlement agreement where they get him out of there,
They don't exactly want him being a mentor going into that. But you look at the Steelers situation, Aaron Rodgers still has not signed with the Pittsburgh Steelers. I have no idea what's going on with Pittsburgh. They did not take Shedeur in the draft, and everybody made a big deal about that. But they didn't take a lot of guys in the draft. They didn't take Quentin Ewers.
I take the Pittsburgh situation. I take the worst situation is Cleveland because Cleveland didn't do anything. Pittsburgh went to the playoffs.
Yeah,
last
they did.
year,
They did.
even though they didn't have a quarterback. And their defense is lights out, and they won games without great quarterback play last year. So Cleveland didn't win anything, and it's been a revolving door in Cleveland, from Baker Mayfield being drafted number 1 to them going, and I think Jameis Winston even played there a little bit.
He played last year for him.
And then to this whole Deshaun Watson type thing. So I think Cleveland's situation is a lot worse than anything.
I agree.
And I think with Pittsburgh, at least Mason Rudolph is a veteran. He has played, and
they went to the playoffs with Mason Rudolph.
So I think the Cleveland situation is a lot worse than anything.
Yeah, they say if you got 2 quarterbacks, you really have none. These guys have 4 quarterbacks, and they said they all have a chance of starting going into week 1. So that's the wilder scenario in my opinion.
That is the wildest.
I don't know what they have going on. They got a lot of youth on their offense to couple with their quarterback that has no idea. They have no idea what's going to happen at their quarterback spot. The offensive line, they had a great one the last few years. A lot of those guys retired or moved on to other teams. So they definitely had the worst situation because of the point you pointed out. The Steelers found a way to get to the playoffs regardless who's playing.
Yeah.
They had Duck Hodges
play.
playing quarterback and went to the playoffs.
Yeah, they plug and play.
Mason Rudolph. And the thing that makes their scenario strange, and I know they're apparently waiting on Aaron Rodgers, I just didn't like what they did in the draft. Going out and getting Will Howard in the draft, I thought y'all could have did better than that at the quarterback spot. Okay, you don't want to draft Shador, cool. They probably wasn't even the Mike Tomlin thing because everything Mike Tomlin said about Shador, he seemed like he really liked Shador and what they went through their pre-draft. But that wasn't a Mike Tomlin. That was a Rooney family decision, in my opinion.
That was the owner's type of decision. So, I mean, that's what that was, and that was on every team. The owner had to be involved with a Shador Sanders pick. That's even when Cleveland came out and said it, they said the owner had to chime in and say, hey, well, let's go ahead and take this guy. Because nobody was taking him other than that.
Yeah, and probably wouldn't have got picked like you said on here. Probably wasn't going to get picked.
He wasn't going to get drafted.
If he didn't get that, he'd have been on a free agent rookie deal somewhere at somebody's camp. But, we both agree the Browns, they should have got Hard Knocks this year. I forget who they said they gave it to. I think they said the Bills is who's going to get it. They should have gave it to Cleveland this year because I don't know what in the world is going to happen throughout there. By the time it gets to training camp, that'd have been very interesting. I think they would have made a good amount of money if they'd have had them on Hard Knocks going in.
As the world turns.
NFL edition. That's what it would have been for Cleveland. Looking a little bit at some college football as we're just a couple of months away from football season. Head coach from Indiana, and I said this on Monday, a guy that has never had a problem being considered a whistleblower or any type of thing for other programs, and that's Kurt Cinetti out there at Indiana. He is a guy that doesn't mind sharing his opinion with anybody, and he's earned it. He said he's a guy that's won on every single level, so he has no problem letting people know what's going on. He says there's at least, and he put at least 6 teams going into next year with the $40 million plus roster. We've been talking about Tech has been getting a lot of news here lately, your alma mater, because they spending – I'm talking about some big money. Not just in softball, but in football. They are spending some bread, reportedly getting up to now $50 million and what they spent out there in Red Raider Nation. But Miami is a school that he named, Notre Dame, Texas, Ohio State, and Oregon as 6 teams that have at least spent $40 million in this year's coming up in college football season. Is this just a new norm now that we're going to see? Because last year, football season, we talked about Ohio State got a $25 million roster out there, and that's why they went and won.
But this is a new norm. Until the legislation can do something about it, this is how it's going to be. Because people got money to burn. I mean, I look at my alma mater. Man, they got so much oil money out there. They got an oil guy leading the way that's worth billions of dollars, and he is the guy that's leading the charge.
Yeah.
Saying, hey, if we want him, let's go get him. We want him in basketball, let's go get him. And he's putting it on in every sport. It's not just football. He's putting it in basketball. He's putting it in track. He's putting it in softball. Hey, he wants Tech to have one of the best programs in the country.
He's not playing around.
He's not playing
kudos
around.
To dude, I forget his name, but I was watching a couple of videos people made about he ain't playing at all. He is making decisions out there and is spending the bag.
Yeah, he's worth $3 billion.
Yeah.
He's worth $3 billion. So, and that when you got oil, it keeps pumping. That's the thing about it. So that money's gonna continue.
Yeah.
So I mean,
And he used to play for Texas Tech. If I'm not mistaken.
He was a player. Yeah, he's a player. I wish I'd have played there. You know, but he's a little younger than I am.
Yeah.
And he's one of these guys, man, that's big, man, that pays for everything, man, and he's throwing a lot of money out there. But that's the area that we live in right now, man, where if you got it, you can spend it. You know, they told me it ain't tricking if you got it.
If you got it, and he got it.
So he got it, man. And that's kind of what he's doing, man. He's throwing that money all over the place.
Yeah.
And that's what college football is going to be all about. They say you got some big donors down in Miami, too, that's spending money.
Miami.
Notre Dame, you know, a lot of guys, they spending money.
They got a long history of being able to spend some money.
So this is where we are, man. This is where we are.
We're going to see teams. It's just going to reshape the way that we've seen teams, because it's always been in college football 5, 6, 7 teams that have a chance every year to go out there and win the whole thing, win the national title. It's never been there's 50 teams every year that can win it all. It's just going to be reshaping who those 4 or 5 teams are. And I commend teams like a Tech, like a St. John's in basketball that are saying, hey, we got some money. We want to be relevant in these sports, and we're going to spend it. If that's what they're doing now, we're going to play the money game, or we can participate within the money game to be able to go out here and be successful. The NIL cap rule, they're not calling it a cap, but it's what's supposed to be a cap rule. It's supposed to be $20 million for NIL for your whole school in all of their sports. But that's for NIL money that comes through the school. If the NIL money is coming from a donor, ain't no salary cap. You can spend however much you feel like spending. And so, I mean, some people don't like it. I like it. I want to see how far this is going to go. Phil Knight's spending a whole lot of money out there in Oregon to get Oregon competitive in every sport too. So I'm ready to see where this is going to go, and especially talking about Texas Tech, because they're a team that's in Texas, and I want to see how this experiment plays out. Can you go out there and buy yourself championships in multiple sports? So I'm excited for this upcoming football season to see how these things are going to go as far as these new NIL deals and how they're shaking out, and how they're shaking out for different teams. Like I said, folks, Oklahoma City Thunder play tonight as they have a chance in their closeout game to be able to close out this Minnesota Timberwolves team. The team that won it all last year, the Boston Celtics, fell short this year to the New York Knicks. Jason Tatum tore his Achilles. We've seen that. He'll most likely miss all of next year. They're saying there's some hope that he could come back at the end of the year next year, but it's an Achilles. You honestly never really know. But there are reports, Shams, who's the lead reporter for ESPN, is saying that this Celtics team could look completely different. And there's a lot of people that agree with it. I'm one of those people that agree with it because of this new second apron that they put into the NBA policies and pretty much making it a hard cap. You used to be able to, hey, we got a salary cap, but you'll get penalized. You'll go into the luxury tax, but you'll be able to pay it off. We saw the Warriors in the luxury tax for like 3 or 4 years, but they were going to the championship, so it didn't matter at that point. Now with this new cap, the penalty is much, much, much greater. I think even going into next year, just for a guy like Sam Hauser, who got a new deal, who comes off the bench for them, got like a $30 or $40 million deal. Well, the penalty is gonna make that cap hit go up to like up $100-something million on the cap hit, just because of the penalty of them going over. So they're gonna have to make some really, really tough decisions going into next year. It's not gonna look like this current roster, in my opinion. Porzingis, I think, is probably gonna be the first casualty as far as somebody being gone, especially the way he performed in these playoffs. Just did not perform whatsoever. But even guys on the bench, Peyton Pritchard, he got a new deal a couple years ago, but he's gonna be looking for an even newer deal now that he's 6th man of the year and all of this, and Drew Holiday, different guys like that.
Yeah.
Derek White has played phenomenal. Sam Hauser got a new deal off the bench. What do you think about this Boston team and the tough decisions that they're going to have to make coming up in this next season?
Man, that's the whole deal when you don't complete the deal.
Mm-hmm.
Because now you won it last year. There'll be a new champion this year. But you have to do some things because of that hard cap. And now you can lose some of your core players. I think Drew Holiday is going to be gone because him and Derek White kind of do the kind of same thing.
Yes.
So he's got to go. And then Pritchard and him and Derek White, they kind of all in that same area. So you got to keep 2 of those guys, and you got to let one of them go. Porzingis has to go. You sign Hauser, you got to try to trade him, or you got to find a way to keep him, or or whatever you want to. I mean, they have so many decisions that they have to
because
make.
a lot of guys making a lot of money on Boston.
Yeah.
Al Horford's in that mix. He's on
Al
the
Horford,
end of retirement, but he's
yeah.
still getting about $10-15 million. So
Yeah,
they got tough decisions.
and then you got 2 max deals on that. On
$300 million plus.
Yeah, plus. Yeah. So you have to make some decisions, and it's gonna be tough for him, man. But I promise you that it's gonna be either. I think Drew Holiday is probably gonna be gone.
Yeah, I agree.
I think you have to get rid of Al Horford or Porzingis, one of those two. So you're gonna see some changes, definitely.
Yeah, I think, like you said, Drew Holiday is going to be that first. Him and Porzingis probably going to be those first 2 guys to be gone because Drew Holiday playing the same type of role as a Derek White. Pritchard, who had his best season, he comes off the bench because Drew Holiday starts. So you probably think we're going to elevate Pritchard into that starting spot.
Right.
Drew and Derek do the same thing. Yeah, it doesn't make no work because Drew's making like $35-40 million.
Yeah, and then these guys are younger.
Mm-hmm. Derek White's younger than him.
Yeah.
Drew Holiday is about 34, 35 years old.
So you go with you, and you go with the guy that's kind of similar, but that's younger, but making a little less money than he is.
Yeah, they got to find a way to get under that cap because if not, the penalty is going to be too great. And I know for a fact that these new owners don't want to go in with that. They just bought the team for, I forget how much they said they bought it for, $4 billion deal, I believe it was, with the Boston Celtics.
And then you got to think about Porzingis stayed injured most of the year.
This entire year, pretty much.
You're just paying this guy, and he kind of helped him with a championship that first year, last year, but he hadn't been able to do anything.
He didn't do anything this year.
And so that's kind of was a part of their downfall because he didn't play up to his potential or the level that he played up to last year.
Yeah, I've seen some people saying, "Oh, well, they might move off of Jalen Brown." I think Jalen Brown and Jason, and you can't move off of Jalen Brown this year because Tatum ain't gonna play this year. So you move off Jalen Brown this year.
You ain't got nowhere to put him, because you got that max deal. He make $350, I think.
Yeah, $350 million deal. Tatum got a $400 million deal. Those guys are the guys that are safe, in my opinion. But everybody else is on the chopping block for the Boston Celtics. They got some really, really tough decisions to make. We're going to see, can Jalen Brown be a number 1 option next year? We're going to see, can Joe Mazzulla coach without having with 6-7 max contract guys on his roster? Right. So some real tough decisions getting made in Boston. But like I said, after the new owners just spent $4 billion, they're not trying to pay an extra $150 million in luxury tax. Just for the fun of it. So I'm sure it's going to be some guys gone pretty quickly for the Boston Celtics. The game tonight coming on in about 30 minutes, the Minnesota Timberwolves versus Oklahoma City Thunder. I talked about this a little bit yesterday. We're already starting to see now that OKC, a lot of people had them as the favorite to win it all, including myself. They're getting the talks of, well, they got a lot of young guys on this roster. Could this be the start of a dynasty building out there in Oklahoma City? And I said yesterday, I think that's a little bit premature to start calling these guys a dynasty. Let's let them get 1 win under their belt in Oklahoma City, because just doing that is record-breaking for a place like Oklahoma City. Oh, what team in any sport has won something in Oklahoma recently in the last 10, 15 years? We're talking about the Sooners, and we're talking about Oklahoma State. Nobody's really won anything out there in Oklahoma, so this could be huge for the community out there. I want them to let them just win it this year.
I think they will. But like you say, it's premature to talk about a dynasty because I think from here on out we're going to have different championships. I don't think we're going to get the dynasty that you look for, because I think what the Dallas Mavericks is doing is going to be big.
Yes.
I think the Lakers, if they can get a few pieces,
they'll be
that's
good.
going to come into play. And then San Antonio, you got to look. They got a lot. They got the 2nd pick in the draft. They go out and get somebody like a Giannis or somebody like that. Man, with the roster that they already have assembled with De'Aaron Fox and Wemby, man, you talking about a team that can easily be there in them finals too. So
Definitely.
It's gonna be tough, man. It's gonna be tough, but Oklahoma City right now, they're my favorite, like yours.
Yeah, I see Oklahoma City being able to shake this one out and win. Tonight they'll play against the Timberwolves in a closeout game. We talked about it a little bit earlier, man. I think the Timberwolves are done. I don't see them being able to move forward from here. I'm interested to see, after they lose tonight, what decisions do the Timberwolves make? Because in my opinion, like I said earlier, I think it's just kind of how the matchup shook off. I don't see Minnesota as a top 2 team, even though they're the last 2 teams left in the Western Conference. I don't see them as a top 2 team going into next year, or I don't see them as a top 2 team this year. I think they just got the right matchups going forward in their thing. I think they've got to figure out what are they going to do with Rudy Gobert. You can't go 2 back-to-back years where you have a guy making $40 million that you gave up 4 first-round picks for that you can't play in the fourth quarter. That don't even make any sense.
Right.
What are you going to do at the point guard spot? Mike Conley is not giving you any production on either side of the ball. He's not the defender that he once was. He's not facilitating, and Julius Randle both get more assists than him. So they got some tough decisions. Jaden McDaniels, he's played good, but he's not enough offensively to help this team go to the next level. We both got Timberwolves losing tonight, but what do you think about this T-Wolves' future going forward? What do they need to get for these guys to be championship contenders?
Well, just like you said, Rudy Gobert, one of the highest paid guys in the league, and you still can't even play him.
You can't make layups.
You got to go out and get you one of those guys like a Pritchard or you McConnell, those type guys that can come in and that can play, because, like you said, the efficiency of Conley, it hadn't been there. It hadn't been there. I mean, so you have to go get you a guy that can score a little bit more, that can control the game a little bit more, because he's not even controlling the game. If you look at it, most of the time the ball is in Anthony Edwards' hands.
Yeah, it is.
Or Nas Reed, or one of those guys.
Or Randall.
Yeah. So you got to go get you somebody that can be more efficient at the point guard position. And then you have to go get you another big, somebody you can trade with that can shoot free throws, because the thing about it is I'm going to foul Rudy Gobert. If I'm in the league, I'm going to foul him.
Every time.
And then I'm going to put him in pick and roll situations all the time. So his importance to the team is not as important as it you can't play him. You can't play him in the fourth quarter, because you can play him the first 3 quarters, but you can't play him the fourth quarter. And I'm hacking him every time he gets the ball.
Every time.
If it's not an alley-oop, he's not scoring.
No.
So they have to do some things different. I just don't see them being able to do anything, because they mortgaged all their future to Utah to get Rudy.
They did.
So they're in a bad situation, and I can't see it getting any better. But I'm gonna say this, and I'm gonna go.
Yeah.
They're done after the night.
Yeah.
They're
I don't see them. I don't see them being able to come back from this. They're playing in Oklahoma City too. So we expect them both to lose tonight, but we'll be able to see game coming on in about 30 minutes. Everybody, want to thank everybody for tuning in with us here today on Centex Primetime. We'll be back tomorrow to close out the rest of this week. Tomorrow, same time, same place. We'll talk about if the Timberwolves do go home tonight, and we'll talk about a pivotal Game 5 for the New York Knicks as they take on the Pacers. That game will be tomorrow. But I want to thank everybody for tuning in with us here today. As always, subscribe to the YouTube, Centex Sports TV over on YouTube, and the website, CentexSportsNetwork.com. We'll be back tomorrow, same time, same place, everybody. We will see you then. Everyone have a great evening.
Man, let me